Previously on Heiner Builds Your Ride Special.
What we've got here is a 12-year-old 76 series cruiser that Rina and I bought a few days ago, and we're gonna make an overland traveler out of it. So you see, this is getting more and more impossible, and I've been pulling my hair out. Literally, as you can see, hair's gone. Good morning. Today is the first day of the 76 series Impossible project. Just on my way to my trusted mechanic, Lee from Leethal Performance in Bassendean. And he is gonna do a whole lot of maintenance, establishing the baseline as we talked about before. Just starting away from home. I hope you can hear that grumble. Rumble, I mean. We are going to change the brakes, and while we're at it, we upgrade them to slightly better rotors and pads at the same time. And because the axles are apart, we're going to have a look at the swivel hubs, the wheel bearings, and then drop all the oils out of the car. Engine oil, flush, a filter, coolant, flush at the same time, flush and then bleed the brakes. Do the same for the clutch. Power steering fluid, gonna do that as well. And then take the oil out of the front and the rear diff, and very important, check, because they have got a magnet on them, and on that magnet you will find any little bits and pieces that might have come off the diff itself, and they'll give us a good indication about the state of the diff. There's a lot of swarf on there, on little metal chunks. Then we're gonna take the diff out and inspect the diff. If there's nothing on there and it looks all good, then we're just gonna put new oil in, and that'll be it. And we do the same for the transfer case, the gearbox. Also drain it, check the drain plug, because any metal swarf should really be on that little drain plug magnet. It's usually engine mounts that I check as well, gearbox mounts, because especially with a car like this that's been towing a lot, they were under quite some stress for quite some time, so it might be a good idea to check them in case they haven't been done yet. And with that, we establish a proper baseline for the vehicle. We've got everything fixed to a certain degree. We will also start the service book fresh from there. We did have one before. We did have a Truby 2008 before. We used that to travel Australia from the east coast all the way through the top to the west coast, but had to sell it when we had our daughter, because a baby seat and 2 adults did not fit in that car at all. So it had to go, and it actually did finance our Caravan Automotive Solutions business. That's all funded by our first trophy. One thing that I can see, this car also has old clear view mirrors, manual mirrors. We're definitely gonna replace them. I think electric mirrors are a must. I think when they're built properly, with the bull bar we're planning to put on there and the other little bits and pieces, I'm hoping that this will look a lot like a G-Wagon later on, because did my apprenticeship with Mercedes, and the G-Wagon is still one of my favorite four-wheel drives. Just by looks, I've never driven one off-road. I hope that changes eventually. So let's see what's gonna happen. We bring this to Lee, hand it over to him, and then later on, where he can give me a report and let me know how good or bad a state this vehicle is in.
Here is the list of things we are getting checked at Lee's workshop. I just dropped the 76 series at Lee's place. Lee will go through all the checks to report back to me. And then 4 hours later, because we are curious, we catch up with Lee to check the condition of the vehicle. We are back here at Leethal Performance in Bassendean because Lee gave me a call to see the progress of what's happening. Plus we're going to drain the oil now. We want to have a look at the magnets of the fillers. So let's walk with me and see what the 76 looks like today. Hey Lee, how you going?
Good mate, how are you?
Good, thank you. Cool, so we've already got a new rotor on this side. As I said, we put the upgraded rotors on there, new handbrakes, complete new brakes all around, and Lee is about to drop the oil out of it. So let's have a look what that looks like.
Boy, she was a bit grey at the start.
Yeah, bit of water in there.
Yeah.
What's the contamination, like any big chunks?
Nah, nothing. Bit of grey paste, bearing wise.
Yeah.
But pretty clean oil, that.
That is good. Okay, cool. So we're gonna do that for the gearbox, the transfer case, and the front diff as well. As you can see, the magnet on here will have all little metal bits sticking to it. So what we don't want to see is big chunks of metal. Little bits and pieces are quite okay. All right, let's have a look at that one.
This is just the transfer case.
Yeah. Let's hope that it's just as clean.
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, no, nothing at all on it, at all.
Awesome.
Very clean.
Cool.
No worries.
Might be a good barn find, this one then. And then the next thing Lee is gonna do, he's gonna take the front rotors off as well. He'll have a look at the wheel bearings at the same time, repack them, and then he'll put new shoes on, new discs. These are the upgraded discs for the front. That should help a little bit because the brakes aren't the best to begin with anyway. And if that doesn't do the trick, then we're gonna put a bigger brake booster in there as well. And then obviously all new filters. How's everything else going, Lee?
Yeah, everything's good.
Yeah?
Really good.
Nice. So yeah, we're gonna be back later on then, I think, when everything else is done, to see if there's another update on how the 76 looks. Several hours later, Lee completed the job. All brake parts, oils, filters and other fluids have been changed, and it's time for a drive.
I have just picked up the car from Lee's workshop, and he's taken me through everything, and straight away I can feel the brakes are so much better. I've just stepped on it a few times before, and much more defined pressure points, and they just grab much harder. Plus, they don't squeak anymore, which is good. The engine run has gotten smoother. I would say that's probably because we changed the air filter and the fuel filter. Changing fuel filters in these cars is so important for a nice running engine. You always feel it in the high rev range. If the fuel filter isn't spot on, they lack power. I've had that on my old V8 Troopy as well. We've also changed the brake fluid. The brake fluid, Lee told me, was really dirty. It was probably never changed before. And the brakes were a bit soft, a bit undefined. That has completely changed. Also with changing the gearbox oil, I can feel that the shifting, it was a tiny bit sticky before. It has gotten a lot better now. So do a bit more driving, see how everything goes. But so far I have to say, it's turned out brilliantly, and I'm really happy that the main maintenance is done, so we can get over to the stage of fitting the accessories.
We've got the car back. I just did a really good test run with it. Went up and down the highway up to 100 Ks. Engine runs a lot smoother than it did before. The braking is a lot more on point. Shifting feels better. Lee also fixed the leaking rear right-hand side axle seal. So as far as I'm aware, this needs a really good wash and detail also underneath to see if something else comes up over the next few weeks. We're also gonna strip it out and then start commencing all the other works. If anybody's interested in finding a good mechanic, me personally, I highly recommend Lee from Leethal. You will find a link in the description below to his business in case you want to give him a call. He's been helping me for years and years. And stay tuned for the rest of the videos where we're actually going to start kitting this out. Thanks, and see you for the next one.